The movie opens. You see our main man Ahmad ibn Fadlan, this sophisticated Arab poet living his best life in Baghdad in 922 AD. He's got a cushy job writing poems for the Caliph, living in luxury, probably sipping fancy drinks. But here's where Ahmed messes up big time. He falls for a married woman. Not just any married woman, but the wife of some super important noble. The Caliph is like, bro, you need to leave. Now. So Ahmed gets the medieval version of being fired. He's made an ambassador and shipped off to meet the Volga Bulgars. He's traveling with his father's old friend Melchizedek, probably complaining the entire way about leaving his comfortable life behind. Ahmed is absolutely disgusted with everything. Their eating habits, their hygiene, their whole vibe. Days pass. The place becomes colder. And then one rainy night they stumble into the Viking funeral. And this is not a calm, respectful funeral. Nope. Melchizedek's shocked about they're still old practices. Look at the funeral. It involves burning a dead king on a ship with a woman who volunteers to die with him to go to Valhalla. So sad. There's Buliwyf, the leader. Calm, silent, powerful. The kind of man who doesn't talk unless it matters. Ahmed tries to talk politely. One of the Vikings, Herger the Joyous, becomes Ahmed's guide. This guy is basically the happiest warrior you'll ever meet, which is ironic considering what's about to happen. But then something happens that changes everything. A young messenger named Prince Wulfgar shows up asking for help. His dad, King Hrothgar, is dealing with some mysterious evil attacking his kingdom in the far north. Something so scary that even Vikings, won't say its name out loud. The Vikings agreed to help and gather to choose warriors. One by one, 12 men step forward, strong, deadly, confident. And then out of nowhere, the Viking fortune teller, a vulva, basically a wise witch lady who looks like she can see past, present, future, your sins, your browser history, stands up and says, "You need exactly 13 warriors for this mission. Oh, and the 13th one can't be a Norseman." Every Viking slowly turns around. Camera zooms on Ahmed. Everyone immediately turns and stares at Ahmed. Poor guy is like, wait, what? I'm a poet, not a warrior. But peer pressure is real, and Ahmed gets voluntold for this pathole mission. And just like that, Ahmed becomes the 13th warrior. Against his will. Without a contract. Without HR approval. They begin their long journey. At this point, after some late night in the journey, Ahmed with other Viking take rest and speak in their language. Perhaps they make some jokes about him, but Ahmed doesn't understand their language. They talk loudly, laugh loudly, roast each other loudly, probably smell loudly too. Ahmed just sits quietly like a foreign exchange student on day one. The Vikings are literally laughing at him. He's the kid who showed up to basketball tryouts at 5 feet tall. But Ahmed starts proving himself in the most unexpected way. By being smart. Here's Ahmed's secret skill. He listens. Every mannerism is see, and he listens to them talk. And slowly, he begins putting the words together. And that one night, while they're trash-talking him, he talks back. In their own language. Perfectly. The Vikings collectively glitch like an NPC that got hacked. Everyone's jaws drop. This man learned an entire language just by listening. Respect level. Unlocked. Buliwyf is impressed and stares at him. Much later, also Ahmed shows off his horse riding skills, because apparently he's been sandbagging this whole time. After many days, they arrive at the terrified village, and you can feel the fear here. Broken fences, empty eyes, silence heavy like someone pressed the mute button on the entire world. The villagers are terrified, and honestly, who can blame them? The enemy they're facing? The Wendel. Creatures that come with the mist at night, kill people and take devourers. The way they describe it, it sounds like a myth mixed with a nightmare. On the first day, Ahmed and the warriors see a boy escaping naked. Catch him. Luckily, the woman knows the boy and takes him back home. Later, the heroes discover a hideout far from the village filled with mysterious items and random body parts scattered about. Ahmed faints and stumbles out. Outside, they find footprints and realize they belong to the monster that lives there. They also discover a fertility idol. The monsters secretly watch them from hiding. On the first night, Ahmed and the warriors are pretending to sleep in a building. Herger whispers to Ahmed that when the attack starts, they'll stand back to back in a circle. Ahmed's like, "Dude, I'm not a warrior." And Herger goes, "You're about to become one." "Thanks for the pep talk, Herger." Night falls. Fog creeps. And then, shadows move. Not slowly, not loudly, just suddenly. Fast. Sharp. Animal-like. The Wendel attack like wild beasts, roaring, slashing, vanishing. Houses burn, people scream. Ahmed swings his sword like a man, but he survives. He kills one.
He survives. However, 2 warriors, Higlak and Wagnard, are killed and beheaded. The unsettling aspect is that despite killing several Wendel, they can't find any bodies, only a severed hand. The next day, the Vikings plan to build defenses for their settlement. Ahmed is given a heavy Viking broadsword, which is far too cumbersome for him. He grinds it down into a scimitar, a curved blade. The Vikings initially mock him, believing he's ruining a perfectly good sword. However, when he tests it, it moves with a swish slash, light, fast, and deadly. He then remarks to them, "Go ahead, laugh it up, heavy hitters. I just invented speed stats." Ahmed has officially leveled up. The Wendel taking their dead with them is a concerning sign. It eventually reveals a crucial truth. After several brutal attacks, during which they lose more warriors, Skeld, Holga, Roneth, and Rethel, the group makes a shocking discovery. The Wendel are not supernatural monsters. They are, in fact, human cannibals who dress up and act like bears, genuinely believing themselves to be bears. This revelation is terrifying, yet, strangely, also a relief. It completely changes the game for Ahmed. Once he realizes they're not battling ghosts or demons, but merely deranged individuals in bear costumes, his fear evaporates. His new mantra becomes, "If it bleeds, we can kill it." However, the Vikings realize they cannot win by playing defense. They are running out of men. So, they decide to do the most Viking thing imaginable: go on the offensive. They seek advice from a wise old woman. She explains by referencing a figure idol they had previously discovered in a hideout. She begins to explain that the
only way to stop the Wendel is to kill their mother, the woman who leads their rituals, and their warlord who wears the horned helmet. They ride into a dark forest and eventually find a water cave. The only way in is to dive underwater through a narrow passage. The Vikings swim through it and reach the Wendel's cave system. Inside, there are bones everywhere. The caves are dark, crowded. They move quietly. They surface inside the Thunder Cave. It smells like death and looks like the inside of a nightmare. This is the Wendel's living room. Piles of bones, creeps, cannibals sleeping or lurking in the shadows. The stealth mission goes wrong because, of course it does, and suddenly it's a brawl. The fighting here is chaotic. It's dark, it's tight. Buliwyf splits off to find the mother. He finds her deep in the cave. She attacks him with a poisoned claw. Buliwyf kills her, taking her head, but she manages to scratch him deep across the shoulder. And if you know movies, you know, the scratch is never just a scratch. The poison enters his blood instantly. The clock starts ticking. Now they have to escape. They find a back exit that leads to the sea, but the Wendel are swarming them like angry ants. In a moment of pure heroism, one of the warriors, Helfdane, realizes they won't all make it. He stays behind. They make it back to the village, but the vibe is heavy. Buliwyf is turning gray. He's shaking. The poison is cooking him from the inside out. And then the lookout shouts. Up on the hills, fire. Not just a few torches, it looks like a river of lava flowing down the mountain. It's the glowworm. The Wendel are coming for revenge, and this time they brought everyone. It's an army against a handful of battered Vikings and one very tired Arab poet. The villagers are panicking. The warriors are grim. They know this is the end. And here we get one of the most beautiful moments in action movie history. Buliwyf, who should be in a coma, stumbles out of the hut. He can barely stand. He's leaning on his massive sword, sweating poison, but his eyes, laser-focused. He walks to the front line. It begins to rain. The mood is gray, steel, and mud. And then, Buliwyf begins the prayer. You know the one. Lo, there do I see my father. Lo, there do I see my mother, and my sisters, and my brothers. The other Vikings join in, but the warlord, the guy with the huge antlers, rides straight for Buliwyf. Buliwyf summons the last drop of strength in his body. He parries the attack, spins, and in one clean, heavy motion, he kills the warlord. He cuts the head of the snake. The warlord falls, and suddenly, silence. The Wendell freeze. They see their leader dead, killed by a man who is practically a corpse himself. The fear breaks them. They turn and run back into the mist. The monsters are gone forever. Buliwyf watches them run. He sheathes his sword. He walks over to a stone bench, sits down like a king on his throne, and just stops. He dies sitting upright, eyes open, guarding his people even in death. It is a warrior's exit. Absolute legend. He dies like a leader, in front of the people he fought for. The aftermath is quiet. A royal Viking funeral is held for Buliwyf. Ahmed watches the ship burn, tears in his eyes, preparing to leave. He's finally going back to the sand and sun. But as he sits on his boat, writing in his journal, we hear his voiceover. He talks about the men he fought with. He talks about how he became the 13th warrior. He writes down their names. He preserves their legend. Because that's what poets do. He prays, "Let us recount the days of high adventure, and may God bless them, for they were great men." That is the 13th warrior.